musical journey started at the age of 6, under the influence of my father and my mother, who both were musicians.
I grew up in small-town Canada, studying piano from a local teacher until I was about 14 years old and discovered rock and roll.
Immediately, as per my promise to my father before he passed, I went to Juilliard School in New York, and by a stroke of fortune met one of my old classmates from Central Music School of Moscow. He introduced me to Miss Dorothy DeLay. Again, very fortunate to be studying right alongside with 20th century great violinists Shlomo Mintz, Mark Peskanov, Nigel Kennedy. We all were running around together, diving into the life of New York and its novelties. One that made an enormous impact on my thinking about the music and how to interpret it and how to phrase the music that is in front of you, how to bow it, how to finger it, was Mr. Isaac Stern. Also, I had incredible master classes with Mr. Pinkas Zuckerman and Itzhak Perelman, who remained to be friends up to date.
At the age of 17, joined a rock band and went out and toured North America for 4 or 5 years. And while I loved the travel and loved the playing, I felt that as a musician I was not as studied as I could have been and as good as I think I could have been. And so I elected to leave rock and roll music for a period of time. And over the course of 4 years, I studied with some wonderful composition teachers.
After graduating from Juilliard, I was functioning as a principal violist of several chamber orchestras. Then finally, I guess, I decided to settle down, and what better way as to look for a position as a principal violist of the major symphony orchestra. And I remained principal violist of the Detroit Symphony Orchestra almost 25 years now.
Moved on to sign a record contract with A&M Records in 1985 and got the experience of making music on a high level. And it's funny, as I look back now, I realize that as much as I love rock and roll music, there was always something leaning me toward classical. And I had never really spent a tremendous amount of time composing classical music until I met Sasha.
Well, I guess it all started still back in Russia, where we all were in love with Beatles. About 5 years ago or so, we had a wonderful group of people came to Detroit to play a concert with us, and the name of the group is Beatlemania. Make a story short, at the end of the concert, I jumped on stage, grabbed the guitar, and we did Back in USSR. The reaction was quite incredible. The smile wasn't coming off my face through the duration I was running around the stage with the guitar, and I started to think, how can I possibly have this much enjoyment on stage and having the fun element by knowing what I know how to play, by playing what I know how to play. I needed somebody who would intimately understand what I was trying to do with it. And what it is that I'm trying to do with it is to create a bridge between the classical music and the pops, rock and roll, and other styles. Became lucky enough to come across a wonderful composer, incredibly talented man that is sitting right next to me, who intimately understood what it is that I was trying to achieve here.
It was instantaneous for me. From the first time I met Sasha, I spent a weekend with him just discussing music and talking about great musical moments in our life. And a number of things happened on that weekend that opened my eyes to the possibility of what this could turn out to be. Once I had heard the electric viola and was blown away by its capacity as an instrument in terms of range, in terms of sound, an acoustic viola to an electric guitar to a synthesizer to any of these things. And the thought from a compositional standpoint was just so wonderful, knowing that Sasha could play anything I wrote. We were very fortunate to have some musical collaborators work with us. Among those, a great songwriting friend of mine for many years now, Cy Kernan. Cy is the lead singer of The Fix from the UK. He agreed to write some lyrics for us, which turned out to be a beautiful song called Without Compassion.
Heart is nothing without soul. Soul is nothing, nothing without compassion. Mind is nothing.
We were also very fortunate to have a young up-and-coming singer, Saida Babataliba from Toronto. And Saida was also gracious enough to lend us her voice for a song called Your Innocence.
Innocence is a form of resistance. Your failure to love has always been your weakness.
The other blessing musically has been the injection of Joe Partridge, a very established guitarist from Cornwall, England. And Joe's background for many years includes playing with Elton John, Roger Daltrey, Phil Collins. Like so many other people with this CD, he was enthusiastic to be a part of it, and we are very fortunate to have him playing.
You would come, you would sit down, and you would enjoy what you hear. And if need be, or if the will arises, you would get up and you would dance.
He takes notes on a page which really are thoughts and brings them to life in a way that I've never experienced as a composer before.
It's so very different from the attitude of the soloist in front of the symphony orchestra.
It just gets to another level.
And you would move into the rhythm of the music and just have a great time.